going on, guys? It's Steve Lorenz with Wolverine247 here with fellow contributor Ben Fidelman, coming to you live from Michigan Stadium following the somewhat boring 7-0 victory for the blue team over the maize team today. Obviously, the big thing people want to talk about is the atmosphere. First off, I know in our preview, I wrote that was the one thing that I was really looking forward to. Estimates varied as to how many people we thought would be there, but I'd say there were about 50 to 60,000 people in the audience today. I mean, I thought it was a pretty live atmosphere.
Yeah, walking through campus on the way down here today, it was very much, it felt almost like a game day with a lot of people tailgating in the Chrysler parking lots, and the golf course had some big sidewalk sales going on, so there was a lot of atmosphere going throughout campus, even not just down at the stadium, even in Schembeckler Hall. There was in the museum in there that was open from 9 o'clock until kickoff, so it was really great going all the way through campus, really. Today.
Absolutely, and it was kind of funny, we're sitting up in the press box, and one guy made a somewhat snide comment referring to that the crowd looked about as full as it did against Maryland last year. So obviously everyone's excited with Jim Harbaugh in town, and it was close to game day atmosphere as you're going to get in this early in the year. So the other big storyline heading into the game was probably the quarterback situation. Shane Morris, Jim Harbaugh said so afterwards, separated himself a little bit today. His numbers were somewhat pedestrian if you look at them solely statistically, but probably about, 5 drops. I mean, Amar Darboh dropped a couple wide open passes. Morris still has his tendency to throw off of his back foot occasionally, make a couple, try to force things a little bit too much, but I thought he played great.
A couple times today when he got in trouble, he ended up escaping the pocket, but really let it launch off that back foot, especially downfield, which is where he got in trouble a lot of times last year, and that's something I think through spring practice they're looking to see him dial it down a little bit, make the smarter play. You saw one of the first throws of the game for freshman Alex Malzone, threw it right back to the line of scrimmage, and so I think seeing that throughout, that consistency throughout the quarterback depth chart is really something that coaching staff is looking for this spring.
Sure, absolutely, and I know, Alex did look like a true freshman today. He's played well in practice. I know Harbaugh had a lot of great things to say about him in the press conference afterwards. He did look a little rattled at times. But again, you're playing with a split squad. Offensive line might not have as much cohesiveness as the solid starting 5 might have. But overall, I mean, it was definitely a situation in where Shane definitely separated himself today, at least for the time being. But there's plenty of time until Utah in late August. So next we'll talk about Jabril Peppers. Everyone wants to know about Jabril. When he came up into the press conference room, everybody flocked to Peppers, and he definitely showed what he's made of today. I mean, he's as Harbaugh described it in the press conference afterwards, he's been A+ all spring. Harbaugh was asked if Peppers has an it, and Harbaugh's response was simple, and you can see it on the field, is if it means that he's a football player, then he's got it, and he's just a football player. Physically, he's already there. He's been there. He was in the right position all day. Almost made a great interception. Read a Shane Morris pass perfectly. Should have picked it off, really. I thought he looked excellent.
Jabril he was flying around all day. He was flying around at the point of attack. Really, almost. I think he forced one up in the air, and he and Delano Hill worked really well together. Delano I think had one, and then he was very close to another one, or had two. So they worked really well in tandem together today, and I just thought it was really impressive watching them.
Sure. Really, I mean, long story short, you can see why we at 24/7 and pretty much everybody in the country has been hyping him up for a long time now. When he's actually out there healthy and playing, it's not really that difficult to see it. The linebackers now, 2 seniors, Joe Bolden, Desmond Morgan, must have combined for 30 tackles today. I know Joe Bolden had 12 at halftime, combined the assisted and solo. That senior leadership and production is going to be key, especially given Coach Harbaugh mentioned afterwards that Mike McCray had shoulder surgery again, so we don't know what his timetable is. Ben Gedeon's there, obviously. You guys know I love Ben Gedeon, but that senior leadership and that production is going to be a big key this year, because that position is not nearly as deep as it was last year.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be even more important because you look at Bolden said in some availability this offseason, he said that he's not just playing inside. He's going to move around to outside. And Durkin said that he's wanted to play multiple fronts, and so seeing some of the versatility with limited depth is going to be a really interesting combination moving into the fall.
Now again, 7-0, big defensive battle. The usual suspects up front. guys like Ryan Glasgow, Willie Henry. You could kind of call Chris Wormley a usual suspect. I think we're going to be calling him a usual suspect by the end of the year. Those guys all played really well. Glasgow had a sack. Wormley almost had a sack. But two guys, younger guys, that really stood out and have been getting some hype this spring. Redshirt freshman Lorenz Marshall and redshirt sophomore Maurice Hurst Jr. in the middle. Marshall looked excellent. Beat Wyatt Shulman for the most impressive sack of the game, maybe one of the more impressive defensive plays. He just looks comfortable out there. That hybrid spot that DJ Durkin loved to use at Florida is going to fit him perfectly. He's that perfect build, that size-speed combo. And you can tell, even at talking to him after the game, that he's happy. You can tell. And Hurst is somebody I know, when you talked to DJ Durkin this week, mentioned that he's going to be playing on the inside and on the outside. He was a force, particularly in the middle, I think, right? Would you agree? Mm-hmm. But he's a guy, versatile, athletic, played running back in high school, as everybody knows from the old highlight tape. But those guys really came to play today.
If you talk about versatility with linebackers, you're going to talk about you're going to talk about Hurst coming in on both sides of the ball in multiple different positions. Especially in goal line situations on offense. I think last year we saw him creep down a few times, and I think that's something that you're going to see a little bit of this year. You didn't really see it that much today, I don't think, but I think you'll see it a couple times this year. And Lawrence Marshall is a guy who Durkin said this week was having trouble lining up in spring at the beginning of spring ball this year. He's just having trouble with the most basic things, and now he's out there truly dominating. He made his presence felt multiple times in the game today. So I think that was really impressive to see how far he's come in a very short time in the last few weeks and month or so.
Absolutely. So now as we wrap things up here, my opinion, people are going to naturally talk negatively about the offensive performance. It was only a 7-0 game, but I think there were a lot of good signs for the most part. You got to remember, Ty Isaac only had one carry. Some of the other guys, some of the more explosive players didn't really have a big impact. Like guys like Devion Smith, he had the one big carry early. Didn't hear much from him after that. Ty Isaac had one carry. We all know Drake Harris's situation with the hamstring, and we didn't even see Wilton Spay today, so we don't know what he would have been able to do. But overall, you can see the mold that this new coaching staff is trying to build, and it's not going to happen overnight. But when you combine a veteran defense with lots of skill, with a strong unit, defensive backfield especially, guys played excellent today. You're not going to see a lot of points. I think this defense might be one of the 2 or 3 best defenses that their offense is going to see all year anyway. So that's what I thought.
And that's not surprising coming out of spring ball. Something that we've heard is that this defense has been dominating in spring ball and in practices. And so seeing that come out today and beating a quarterback down and beating what's perhaps going to be the starting running back with Ty Isaac down, I think that this wasn't completely surprising to see a 7-0 effort in the spring game.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks for watching. It's our first one. Hopefully it turns out well. Hopefully you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you when the season starts.